in terms of making this happen and stuff like that. Definitely been very supportive, and it's actually been interesting. It's actually interesting for the fact that they continue to be supportive even after the program. So that's actually very great. So yeah.
Great.
I think I'm gonna give it a bit of 2 minutes more before we start. But I see there's a lot of people that have came through.
Yeah.
Thanks to everyone that's actually came through. I see that I was expecting 20, now I'm seeing like 50 people. So that definitely does show a lot of interest in terms of what we're going to be discussing today.
Of course, we're going to expect more because I have invited a lot from Lesotho.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, thank you. I'm Tibelo, by the way, Sisinyi.
Nice to meet you. Nice to be acquainted.
Thank you, Mr. Sibusiso.
I'm not sure if all my speakers are here. I spoke to Marvelous. He was parking his car. So he said he's going to join as soon as that's done. I was worried that Sibusiso, the guy we're sharing a name with, I couldn't get hold of him during the day, but looks like he's coming through.
Well, I am through. I just came through. I think I texted you now. I'm saying that I was just a little bit busy, but I'm online now.
Thank you so much for coming through. Also, just thank to everyone actually for actually coming through. I mean, it was short notice, and the support that actually came through to make this happen is actually very great. Highly appreciated. I actually didn't know that you, Lazarous. Are you still in the US as well? Because I just heard Lazarus say he's still at the US.
My apologies. No, I'm back in South Africa. I had other commitments I needed to start with, so I'm back in South Africa.
I have someone that was very, very excited to hear that. In fact, she thought I'm you. She was very excited that she's going to be sharing the discussion with you again. Cristiane, are you there?
Hi, are you calling me now?
Yes.
Okay. Hi, everyone. I was a bit lost here. How are you doing? Hi, everyone. I'm just trying to switch on my video. I don't know if you are able to do that. If you are, I really appreciate if you can switch on my video. Let me see. No. Can you help me?
Hi, Cristiane.
Hi, I'm hearing you. I'm just trying to switch on my video, but it's not working. Hi, everyone. Hi, Sibusiso. It was a great pleasure to hear from you and to accept your invitation. I am Cristiane Miguel. I'm from Angola, and I'm here to share with you a bit how was the experience and how is to apply for Mandela Washington Fellowship.
I think based on time, so that I don't hold you guys for too long. If we could actually just start.
Yes, for sure.
Start, can I please ask the others to actually switch off their cameras, so that I'm not gonna lie, I'm not quite sure how this is actually showing with others, but if it's how am I seeing it, I would like the people that are going to be speaking to be actually showing, so that we can actually have that focus to say, okay, this is the person that is actually speaking. So if I can kindly request for Simangaliso, Mteto, and Botumela, if you could switch off your videos, And then when you sorted, Cristiane, I will see you popping up, as well as yourself, Anna, if you could switch off your video, because I want the focus to be on the people that are going to be speaking.
Okay.
Hi to you too, Romeo.
Hello.
We're just saying, can you please have others to actually switch off their cameras so that we can have the focus on the speakers that are going to be speaking, which will help the others who gain focus. Just to start once again, thank you so much for everyone that's actually came through. Looks like the response is actually overwhelming. There's huge numbers. I was honestly just expecting like 20 people. I am recording the session, and I have the guys from Nobuhle Media that actually came through for us, that assist us with the tech part to actually record this and have this also live on Facebook, if I'm not mistaken, live on LinkedIn. And the main idea behind this and why I actually try to make sure this is also happening is because for two reasons. One is to make sure that those that are not able to actually attend here can be able to actually access the information, because this session is slightly different. While I acknowledge the fact that also the different embassies across the continent are actually doing something similar like to this, to make awareness to this program and this opportunity. But if we, us as a youth, actually engage and actually get insight onto different people that are actually undertaking this journey, I think it will actually have a bit of a personalized approach. Once again, thank you so much to the guys at Nobuhle Media for being able to actually come through at moment's notice and assist us to actually making this available on digital platforms. Secondly, the other reason, which is more important for me personally, is that I feel like the fact that I reached out to you guys and then you came through, you took time on your schedule. I would like to see other people who are different digital platforms or anything to share light in terms of what you guys are doing. Not only just that you're actually attending the program and have attended the program, but the fact that you are actually living to the values that we're also aware of in terms of having attended the Yali South African regional one. So I wanted to also share light on that, and also thank you guys for actually taking time and coming through. So in terms of the program, what I'm going to be doing, it's going to be more of a conversation where I hear different perspective, and it's actually great the fact that it's people that attended in different tracks from the entrepreneurship side and the other sides as well, to give us their perspective from their respective tracks that they are actually undertaking. So I think that's going to be very interesting as well. For those who do not know me, I'm Sibusiso Mzulwini, and alumni for the Yali RLC. We met while we were here with the most people here when they were here in SA. So that's me in a nutshell. I also like to allow the 4 participants. I hope Marvelous actually joined, but if he hasn't, he will join through. You'll see with his dynamic personality when it comes through. So I'll just let everyone to actually introduce themselves. I would also like to know in terms of the tracks that you were in. So yeah, please go through. I'll start with, let's say ladies first, actually. Cristiane, please go through. Are you there? I think Lazarus, you can go through while she sorts out her tech aspects of things. I think your mic is actually off. Try to unmute. Your mic is off. Try to unmute. Yeah, I can hear you now, I think.
Okay, thank you. So my name is, I'm sure most of you guys, you know me, we're together. So I'm from Zambia. I'm running a social
Lazarous,
enterprise.
you're not audible. I'm sorry.
Is there any, others can't hear him because I can hear him from my side.
I can
We
hear him
can-
too.
Sure.
I can hear him. He unmuted his mic. I can hear you.
I think it might be on your side. So please go through, Lazarus.
Yeah, so like I was saying, my name is Lazarous Siwelwa. I'm from Zambia. Then back home, I'm running a social enterprise called Virgin Green Renewable Energy Limited, where we are recycling waste materials, producing alternative to charcoal so that we can be able to combat deforestation and also reduce indoor air pollution. And also we produce energy-saving cook stoves that uses less fuels and reduces carbon emission. So I applied for the Mandela Washington Fellowship in the business track, and that was my preferred track because I'm an entrepreneur. So I wanted to learn entrepreneurship here in the United States. And yeah, I was selected in the same preferred track that I chose. And so I was placed at University of Nevada, Reno. Nevada is on the West Coast. So yeah, I've been here in the United States for now 2 months. And I was also fortunate to be selected for professional development experience. So I'm currently still in the United States. We are going to talk about what is professional development experience, because after the initial 6 weeks at your institute, for those that are selected for professional development experience, you tend to remain behind for another extra 1 month where you do a professional development experience in a US-based organization, pertaining to what you're doing back home. It might not be what you are exactly doing back home, but it should be similar to what you're doing. Yeah, that's about me. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Lazarus. Can I also allow Sibusiso to also go through to also introduce yourself?
Thank you so much, Sibusiso, for the invite. Well, my name is Sibusiso Maneli, as you all know. I'm a 2024 Mandela Washington Fellow. I was at the Arizona State University in the public management track, obviously with Cristiane here. My apologies, everyone. I have a little bit of flu. Yeah, and I currently work as a data and research analyst for the Western Cape Trade and Investment Agency. Well, I've always been also in the higher education sector. I worked as an educational technology advisor at the University of Cape Town. Yeah, basically, let's stop there for now. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for that intro. Do I have oh, you're here. You're here.
Finally.
Feel free, go through.
Okay, hi everyone. I am Cristiane Miguel. I am from Angola. As the other Sibusiso says, Sibusiso Maneli was my colleague there in Asia, Arizona State University. We made the same track, public management, and it was amazing. It was an amazing experience. So I'm very excited to share with you how was the experience and how to apply.
For those that don't know you, tell us briefly about yourself. Especially since you are in a different track when you actually came here.
Okay. My first experience in Yali was in Yali, South Africa, in business track. My first experience was 5 years ago. And this time in Mandela, I applied for public management because at the moment I work in higher education management. And I collaborate several times with the higher education ministry in some national commissions for development education. And I'm also a dentist specialized in public health. That's why this time I chose to be in public management track.
Sure, thank you so much. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Is Marvelous with us? Okay, I think when he joins, then we're just going to continue with the conversation. So, like I said, actually very excited for the fact that it's very diverse in terms of people that are actually here, in terms of the tracks that you guys are attended. And that makes me excited because that means there's going to be different perspectives that are going to be shared here with us. So I for those that don't know, and I want to actually engage with you individually so that you can tell me your individual's perspective on this. What is this fellowship? What is it about, and what does it aim to achieve? So Lazarous, please go through.
I'm sorry, it's my time, sir. Okay, what's it about? I think it's about life changing and a mindset changing. Besides the Yali has this perspective in every times of in every how can I say, every way to work. But in terms of leadership is quite different because you have the opportunity to see how US is working with their solutions and how you can manage your solutions regarding to your context. And one of the things that we realized, and when we arrived there, we see that almost of us, we already have the solutions that we need. We just need to construct our solutions in the way to be implemented and to be sustainable. One of the things that we really struggle in terms of implementing our solutions is to make them sustainable and make them happen in an easy way. Sometimes we complicated too much the things and we complicated the way we are giving a solution. Sometimes it's very simple. And one of the things that I really appreciate that comes new into the cohort as well is the design thinking that they add to the program and the way they guide us with the coach, with the personality skills. And this is very important for leaders because when you have when you're struggling to implement a project or a solution, the first step is to know what is your strength and what is your weakness. And this is one of the things that we really focus on. We really focus on knowing why we were there, how was our project, and how we really are. And when we discover our personality results, we were really surprised about the results, but these results helped us to work better as a group and to work better in our projects. And even Sibusiso can agree with us because one of the things that I really appreciate in terms of how it's about going to Mandela is to self-knowing. You really appreciate the others and you appreciate yourself because you know you better than before, and you know what is your strong point and you know how to work at this point for the future. So for me, I think now is easier to work in my project to see how can I apply the knowledge that I learned there and how can I make my project sustainable and the project with impact. because sometimes we have a lot of ideas, we have a lot of projects, and we don't have a focus, and we don't have the impact that we need to make in our community.
Awesome, thank you. Thank you so much. Who would like to also take the floor to share from their perspective, primarily based also in terms of your track that you are undertaking? Sibusiso, you wanna go through? Your mic, okay, cool.
Oh yeah. It looks like Lazarous was going to go. You can go first. It's fine.
Now I think you can go through. Yeah, you can
Okay.
go through Sibusiso.
I think for me, first and foremost, as a person who also comes from the Regional Leadership Center, South Africa, I'm in Southern Africa. Moving on into the Mandela Washington Fellowship, the differences are startling if you think about it. And obviously, having done the public management track as well in the Southern Leadership Center, in the Southern African Leadership Center, I think one of the things that I've came to realize was the fact that both these programs, though they might be from Yali, but then they look at leadership from a different perspective, especially within the public management sector. I think one of the things that were relatively startling for me and were the highlight was the fact that leadership is understood as a concept of consistent engagement with the system itself. Unlike in the Regional Leadership Center, where we understood or we were taught about leadership in the context of public management as a tool of driving public management and of sustaining public management and of making sure that we have proper governance, of making sure that we sustain democracy and all of that. But in the context of the United States, they look at leadership as a component of public management. I don't know if I make sense. And I think then for me, my experience then as a person who studied public management at university, as a person who was engaged with public management theory at that level, it sort of made more sense for me in the Mandela Washington Fellowship rather than a project focused approach in the Regional Leadership Center. And I'm saying it's a project it's a project oriented approach in the RLC, because at least for my experience, it was more of focused on delivering a project, on delivering what you have been taught as a way of facilitating your project completion. Whereas I think Cristiane would agree with me, when we were in the US, then things were kind of different, because we were looking at in the whole perspective of leadership and the whole perspective of leadership development as a process that is integral to making sure that we have sustainable democracies, we have good governance, and we have resilient public institutions. And at least for me, that was really an amazing experience in this sense, that then I was able to understand leadership not only as just a personal thing that one must have because of all the accolades that you have had, but a leadership as a process of continuous development, leadership to be understood, especially within the public service, as a prerequisite for good governance. At least that was my experience, but also I must say that the differences, I think, between the Mandela Washington Fellowship and the Regional Leadership Center are also based on the context in which we do the fellowships, because the MWF is more focused on US systems, is more focused on US cultural norms, is more focused on US institutions. Whereas in the Regional Leadership Center, we're also looking at a different context of looking at all of these Southern African countries and their challenges as it relates to public management. And those differences then tend to be very obvious, especially when you're in the US and you're interacting with all of these institutions. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I think one of the key things that I'm actually picking up is, and also just to, in retrospect, from my experience as well, the regional one is more Africa-centric in terms of the type of leader that we want to be in an African context, and how do you work together within the Southern African region in terms of making that type of leadership a reality. And then from what I'm picking up from your perspective also is that the Nelson Mandela Fellowship is more of a global perspective, primarily also within the US system, as also there are the global players, which makes much more sense to be able to be familiarized with that and taking the African context of things. And I love this perspective because it's going to be bringing us to Lazarous, especially with the solution that he's bringing in as an entrepreneur and his experience from that context. So Lazarous, please go through.
Thank you, guys. I'm going to, I'll echo what Cristiane said. The RLC, when we were in South Africa, like I said earlier on, when I was saying, the RLC centers so much on entrepreneurship, let's say building you, because they tend to focus so much in terms of classroom learning, because we spent so much. We used to spend from 8 up to 17, like almost every day. So, but the Mandela Washington Fellowship, this is an exchange program. They don't really, I don't know about other leadership tracks, but for someone like me who was in the business and entrepreneurship track, we spent so much time in terms of going for site visit, networking. We had little time in class, and that was one of the main differences that I saw, and it was really beneficial to me because I'm not someone who likes sitting a lot in class learning, because I've learned so much. And in as much as I'm still learning entrepreneurship, but sometimes when you spend so much time learning on what you cannot apply, it tends to become boring. But I appreciated my institute, the way they designed our learning process. They had put so much emphasis on learning outside environment. Like, we had so many networking opportunities. We had time to visit industries that are relate to what we are doing back home. And it tends to ignite you in terms of the way you're thinking. Because there was one time when we went for a site visit, and then we found this founder who has built one of the largest tech companies here in the US. And he was telling us to say, he started that company in 1966. In 1966, someone started a technology company. In as much as USA is very odd, but by then, one thing that triggers into my mind, I was thinking, like, in 1966, someone started a technology company. So, and this is what I'm struggling back home, because, you know, when you're into innovation, when an innovation is in its early stage, people tend not to believe in you. But so when you get an exposure, someone is telling you to say, I started a tech company in 1966. You're thinking, because I'm sure Zambia was 2 years old by then. Technology was still in its infancy, but he was still looking at the future. What would the future be? So it tends to, the Mandela Washington Fellowship will make you, it will ignite you, it will make you start believing in yourself in the way you visualize yourself, because the potential is already there within you. But what we tend to struggle in terms of believing in ourselves, whereby you feel like you can do it. But when you get exposed to the American culture, the way they work, the way they do things, even the things that they are doing, you tend to start having that self-confidence. You'll be like, I think even me, I can do it. And it's amazing. Yeah.
Thank you so much. So I want to get into the application, right? As I get, and what I want to do is also focus mostly on, so to allow people to actually ask questions as well, so that they can get insight in terms of the challenges they might be facing. I've engaged with a number of people, including myself actually, that you apply and then your application is not successful and stuff like that, and you want to be able to improve your chances to make sure that you actually go through. So I see that, Cristiane, you sent a slide. Can I actually share that? And then you can also go through.
Yes, I sent you because I appreciate if you can share it for me, because I think it's very helpful for everyone, this slide. They have all the steps about the application.
Awesome.
Okay.
I'm going to also allow others as well, like Sibusiso now, Lazarous. If there's any input that you want to add while she's also going in those slides, that would be great. And the reason for that is because I love the fact that you guys are going to be bringing your own perspective from your respective tracks, especially in terms of how you guys also did the application process and everything like that. So let me find my share screen. Is it showing?
Yes, perfect.
Okay.
Yes. Hi everyone again. These slides, they are very complete in terms of how the application process occurs, and maybe some slides I'm going to pace through them very quickly to focus on what you really need. The second slide is just giving you an agenda about the program, fellowship provisions, eligibility, and application information. Almost of the U.S. Embassy give this training for the ones that are applying. And what you really need to know in terms of what the overview about the program. Yali is a big program that includes Mandela Washington Fellowship, that is the principal program. And one of the things that as Lazarous told us, is that when you go to Mandela Washington Fellowship, your Yali network is biggest than the Yali regional. And other thing is that you really have more opportunities in terms of grants, in terms of exchange programs, in terms of even fundings. They have many opportunity to give you fundings, not exactly the program, but other institutions that give fundings for the fellows. But you need to complete the fellowship to assess this type of grants and fundings and opportunities. In the 5 slide, you will see that an overview about the program. I think almost of you know, and even the age limit is 25 to 33, 35. I mean, many of people that apply, I met almost 3 people that were under 25, and they overcome to pace through Mandela. One of our colleagues was 22, and why she applied? Because she thought that her project was good, and at the end of the day, she paced and she was there with us. So she wasn't the unique case that made that. I think I met 3 girls that were under 25, and if you have a really good project and you have a project that have a good impact in your community, maybe you can overcome that. The other thing is that they include every type of person. Don't be afraid if you have some problem, or even if you are not. They are very inclusive, they are very diversified, and you feel that every day they're in your cohort. One of the things that we really need to care about is that there are free tracks, big tracks, but in terms of tracks, you discover that have 4, not only 3 tracks. Why 4? This 4th one, normally they don't talk about it, but when you apply and if they see, I'm sorry. Yes, if they see that you are able to go to this track, they will put you on that. Which track is that? It's energy. Normally, this track is a separate one that are more related to people that work in oil and gas and renewable energy. So they don't talk about too much this track, but when they have a lot of people that are from this area, I'm not sure if this in this Mandela Fellowship that we went to, there was the energy track, but sometimes they have a energy cohort and they have a separate group for that. And business, civic, public management. Sometimes you have to make sure that you are really related to these tracks, because if you are not really related to this track, they will put you to your second option, because when you do your application, you have 3 options. You put the first option that you like more and you want to go, the second and third. But sometimes in terms of your CV, if they saw that your CV is not too related to the one that you chose, they will put you on the one that is more related to your profile. So they analyze your profile. That's why you have to be very truthful. You have to be very clear in terms of what you are doing, what your projects, and what your professional experience, to make sure that you are applying for a track that is related to you. And in terms of business, civic engagement, and public management, in terms of business, it's not really necessary to have a business or to be running a business to apply for this track. If you have an idea that they feel that's the idea that will be important one for your community, they can help you to make it happen. We had a colleague. I had a fellow that had an idea for open NGO for help humans and with law, with helping them to open their own business. She didn't have the business yet, but they liked the idea, and she's still there. Even she's doing the PDE, and that's why, even if you have only the idea, if your idea is well constructed, apply. If you think that your idea will be impactful, don't lose this chance. In terms of civic engagement, make sure that you have
Maybe
yes.
Maybe I can just come in, Christine.
Yes, feel free. I'm just running a bit
yes.
to not pick all the time with me, and to make sure that you have your time. But feel free.
Okay. Let me just talk about the leadership in business.
Yes.
Just to add a few things. So just like what you've said, you don't necessarily need to have a business. You may be working, you're working, but you have an inspiration where you have an idea of starting something. And then you can apply with it and then use that idea, because some of the fellows that we had at my leadership institute, some of them had not yet launched their businesses. Their businesses are just still at their ideation stage, and most of them, they are currently working with different organizations, but they aspire to become entrepreneurs. So when they feel to say your idea is good, give it a try, give it a shot, and you'll be chosen.
Yes, true. True. It's really true. This is really true. That's why I'm emphasizing that. And thank you, Lazarus, for that as well. And the other thing is, even if you just have a business and your business is going very well, apply as well, because they give you an opportunity to have a lot of networking. And there is a program, PD, that is a program for professional development. And I do really think the ones that have business and they are doing good, they can do better when they apply for Mandela and for PD. The civic engagement, in terms of engagement, make sure that you are doing, you are really involved in terms of your community, and make sure that you show it very well in your application. And public management. As I said, I don't really work at public sector, but I collaborate several times with the public sector. And that's why I applied for this track. And the other thing is that almost of my projects are related to public projects, are related to public health, public institutions. That's why I applied for this one. So even if you are not related exactly with the public management or in public service, if you work with or you collaborate with or you have a project that can impact in terms of national impact, you make sure that you are doing a good relation with your dad. Someone asked to clarify civic engagement. Okay, in terms of civic engagement, I'm not the best person to talk about this one, but the thing that I do really learn about civic engagement, and when I was there, almost of the people that work with NGOs and work with the community, any type of work that involves the community, not necessarily involve public management or public service. For example, if you are doing a business in your community by your own, and you are engaging with your community, doing something to give them a solution for a problem or for a social problem, you can apply for this one. And make sure that you emphasize, for example, if you are doing voluntary work, this is a very good one to make sure that you put in your application your project is related to what, and even if your project are related to and all these like development goal that can help to clarify what you are doing and the impact that you are having with your project in your community. You may continue, Sibusiso. In terms of what are the components, it's very different. And to say the truth, it's totally different. The public content for one institute to other. Some of the contents they are similar. Like for example, the personal skills program are for everyone, but in terms of site visits, they are not the same. In terms of leadership training, some of them they are a bit different. For example, one of the things that I really asked myself why they put me in Arizona State University was I don't know, I'm not understanding, but when we started the program and when I saw the things that my colleagues were doing, I understood why they put me there. And our program was was very related to political preparation for assumed political positions. And almost my colleagues, they are following this track. They are going by this way. Maybe I do really think that almost of my colleagues will be turning to politicians, and we really had politicians there. We had colleagues that one of them they were a mayor. Sibusiso, help me. Mayor, and the other was working for the vice president. Other was someone that was a chief and higher position in political area. So this will be depending about your interests, and the institute will be giving you the inputs that you need for that. In terms of summit will be the last week. You have 5 weeks in your institute, and last week will be in Washington with the summit. And the summit will be like a networking every day. You will network with the 700 people that will be your fellows, and you will be networking with the almost every U.S. department that you can imagine. Even Anthony Blinken was with us, so anyone can appear there. I maybe next time, maybe Joe Biden will appear there, and maybe like Kamala Harris will appear as well. So this is a very good one, and make sure that you print your cards, because you need cards. You need a lot of cards. So to finish, the PD is the professional development experience. When you're doing your application, will be the almost the last page that you will fill will be the PDE. If you choose to be elected to be a PDE, you have to do 2 essays that are required for the PDE, and make sure that your essay is well done. If you think that essay for applying for Mandela is difficult, the PDE is worse. I think it's more difficult than, yeah, true. It's more difficult than the application as well, because you really need to be clever on that one, because they really select only 100 people in a universe of 700. So this will be a really hard selection. So make sure that your PD application is really well done, and give you time for that, because you really need time. Sometimes you will need someone to read your application, your own application, and give it to someone that knows you, because I thought that was really hard to talk about myself. It's really hard to you to talk about yourself and to ignite yourself doing your own essay, talking about yourself, what you have done, what the impact that you have. So for me, it was really hard to do that. It wasn't easy, and I didn't have any help. So I struggle a lot. So if you have someone that knows you very well, make sure that this one read it for you and help you to make sure that you are delivering really what you are. These other slides are something that I just paced through in the beginning. And other thing is, make sure that you have a good interview in the U.S. Embassy. Sometimes you can be selected, but you can withdraw in the visa. People think that the visa is guaranteed when you are selected. When you are selected, you go to the U.S. Embassy interview and you can withdraw if you don't pass to the interview. So here we had 3 people that we left them because they didn't pass in the interview, in a US Embassy interview. So we were to be there more than 13, and we were only 13 because 3 people withdrew. I mean, they didn't withdraw, but they wasn't accept. So make sure that you say the truth, because they will see your life, they will check your Facebook, they will check your Instagram, they will check your LinkedIn. So make sure that what you are saying is what you have in your social media. If you lie, they will capture. If you lie something, they know that you are lying. So make sure that you are very truthful in what you are doing, and you can prove what you are saying. If you say that, oh, I am PhD candidate, so make sure that you have a proof for that. If you don't have a proof for that, don't say that. Because if you say that, that's something that you can prove, they will take you off. Okay, for me, it's okay. I think any questions, feel free to ask, and I'll give Sibusiso and Lazarous the word. Thank you.
I think the first question that that comes to mind is the one from the slide that I just saw. What makes a perfect, or just a second, let me refer to it quickly, an ideal candidate? for this program? In your respective views.
I'm sorry, I didn't get you.
What makes an ideal candidate for this fellowship program? From what you saw, in terms of your application being a success, but also when you went in there in terms of how you fit, how do you feel is the ideal candidate for this program?
This is very hard, but
Who wants to go first?
Okay, maybe I can talk about anyone is ideal, but you don't need to be doing something extraordinary. You need just to be doing something that at least in the long run will change Africa.
Sure.
That's what they are trying to look at it. You need to have something. It doesn't really need to be something that's very big. Just something they want to see you. They want to see what are some of the things that you want to do. Maybe you might be doing something that is small, but where do you want to go? And that is what they want to support you. So you don't need to feel inferior to say, maybe my idea is too small. No, they just want to see what are you doing at the moment and where are you? It might be very, very small, but where do you want to see yourself? And that is what they want to support you, and they'll definitely support you with that.
Okay, let me open it to the floor. I want people to be able to ask questions as much as possible. I see there's a hand that has been up. I want to recognize this leader.
And then
yes,
just yeah. Another thing, just on the application process, maybe I'll talk about.
Tafa, please mute yourself just quickly. Okay, please go through, Lazarous.
Okay. Yeah, so maybe it's on the application process. So when you're writing an application, I know sometimes the essays can be very intimidative, but you have to be very sincere with what you're saying. And so during my PDE, my host supervisor used to work with IREX. So I was trying to ask her how they select the fellows and what is the process. So she told me everything about how the selection process goes. So one of the things that you need to avoid is plagiarism, guys. Make sure that whatever that you are going to put in those essays should come within you. Maybe an idea might be related with someone in another country, but it has to come from your head. Write that English. Maybe the English might not be perfect, but you need to write by yourself. Don't copy anything from the web. Don't get someone's application. Maybe someone participated maybe in previous years, and then you get that application and get those answers. You will disqualify yourself. So make sure your English might not be perfect, but try your level best to write within yourself. In that way, you'll be proving yourself to them, so that even if they run those applications, because they run them, they'll run them. And if they find that you did copy somewhere, you pasted the information somewhere, they'll definitely reject you. So try your level best to avoid plagiarism and getting some other people's applications and use those. There you're automatically disqualifying yourself. So that's one advice that I can give you, maybe.
Yeah, just a quick one, especially on what we're saying on the application process. I think first and foremost, what is quite important when you are doing your application, plan for the application, right? plan. Don't think you can do the application in one day, the day before the deadline, 30 minutes or an hour before the deadline. Look, I think for me, what has always what worked, was being able to respond to the essay question in such a way that you're telling your story, a story about what you are bringing to the table, what kind of resources do you need to make a better impact, and how the how the Mandela Washington Fellowship then will provide you a platform for those tools and resources to make a better impact. So, for instance, a typical example, I'm going to make a typical example about one of the questions on one of the essay questions that you'd probably get. Just give me a moment. One of the questions that we'd probably get in the application process. I just wrote a few notes down. Just give me a moment, guys. My apologies. So, yeah. So basically, it's just that I can't find my notes. My apologies. But basically, what I was trying to say is, one of the questions might be saying, tell us about the project that you're busy with and what kind of impact that does it have. You know, you need to. There's ways of explaining that. You can say I run an NPO, I do A, B, C, and D for girls. This is the kind of impact that we have. We want to scale up the project and we're short of money. That doesn't provoke any emotional connection to what you're talking about. But then if you are able to answer questions in such a way that it tells the story of the importance of whatever it is that you're doing and the importance then of collaborating with other fellows in Africa in scaling up that project, then that has a much more better impact. Obviously, there's lots of tools that can help you write better. No one is saying here that don't use Grammarly. No one is saying here don't use ChatGPT or whatever it is. But also, all of these tools that you're using to structure, they must be used to structure whatever response that you are getting, not as a matter of writing for yourself. So, for instance, I've responded to, I've done the application, but just to brag, I only applied once for the Mandela Washington Fellowship, and I was accepted the first time that I applied. And I think one of the things that helped me was the fact that I was able to tell my story in my own way, so that even though I've never run an NPO, I hardly do volunteer work. Mostly my work has been at a professional level, but I was able to show that I make an impact wherever I'm at. And I think that is also answering that question from I think it was Taunga, who was asking how do you put up strong application? Look, we all do the same things, most of us. We all do great things. We all have great CVs. But what will set you apart is how you tell your story to the reviewers of the application. Thank you.
Thank you so much. One of the questions, I think someone was asking for email address and stuff like that. What I would do is when we're actually sharing this, especially from my understanding, I haven't checked. I'm hoping it is actually working. It is live on LinkedIn. I'll definitely be taking everybody that is actually participating here. Not everybody participating, but the speakers that are speaking here. As I explained earlier, in terms of my logic and my line of thinking, so you could be able to actually engage with them and stuff like that. So I think that answers that question. If anyone has an idea, please tell me. If you're in a different country, let's say for Lazarous, you were not in Zambia, but you were applying, do you think that will reduce your chances of being selected? I'm not sure. I'm not sure if you guys will be able to answer this question because it's more from the reviewer side. But what do you guys think?
I didn't get your question. You're saying,
If I may say,
sure, please do.
If I may say so, what they would say mostly is the criteria for eligibility says you must be of African descent or you must be a citizen of Africa. So basically, for instance, who is in Europe? I mean, your country of residence does not really impede you from being selected, unless you are currently in the United States. So they would always prefer people who have not engaged at all with the US society, because a large part of the Mandela Washington Fellowship is also creating a symbiotic relationship between African countries and the American society. So I don't think it disqualifies with the fact that you're currently based in Europe, as long as you're an African citizen, home is still Africa, or at least sub-Saharan Africa. So, however, though, it would be a different case if you were based in the United States, because it would not it would not make sense for you to go and experience the United States society, yet you already live there.
Oh, thank you.
That's how I look at it.
I think also it goes to the impact that you need to be taking back home. So in terms of if you are in a different country and the project or solution that you want to actually bring in, it has to impact back home. So those are the things that they will consider. But I'm sure, obviously, as Sibusiso just said, it doesn't stop you, but the impact also has to go back to Africa as well. I think that will be something that will be considered. Cristiane, your mic is off.
Yes, I was adding in what Sibusiso said, because we had a fellow that she didn't live in Angola. She was living in UK, and she applied to be there, and she pays. So I don't think that will be a problem being or living in another place and applying for the Mandela Washington, because we had someone that wasn't living in UK, wasn't living in Angola, and was successful in her application. So someone asked it something that was very interesting, that she's graduating now, and I'm sorry, Sibusiso, and I was really curious about that, because in terms of even if you are not related to anything, as I said at the beginning, sometimes if you have an idea that can be an impactful idea, or an idea that you do really think that is good, that can help your community or can help Africa in some kind of area, and can develop your country, why not apply? So the only thing that you have to make sure is that the essay that you construct really shows your intent and your goals in terms of what you want to do for your community, and what kind of preparation you had for do that. Because I saw that you graduated now. Why you choose this type of course when you did your graduation? If, for example, if you choose to be an engineer, you explain why you choose to be that. For example, I choose to be engineer because I had some kind of issues of construction issues on my community, and I want to help my community to have better houses. And so you have to make sure that your story is related with something that can help your community or can have an impact in terms of what you are doing to the future. As Lazarous say as well, they really help people that want to go further. So if you are graduating now, you want to make, I think that you want to go further. So make sure that you explain it very well.
Sure, thank you so much. Thank you so
Yeah.
much for that input. Let me go to, sorry, Lazarous, let me go to Fata, because he's been having or she's been having their hand up. So I want to hear in terms of the question they have.
Hello.
Hi.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Please go through.
Okay, thank you very much. I have a quick question. I think some of the things have been answered recently, but I still have a question. Maybe you can help me so that maybe I can make a good application. Okay, my name is Tafazwa and I'm still an undergrad student. So I have a project. So recently I managed to win a United Nations award because of that project. But I was now worried now to apply for Mandela Fellowship. Why? Because I'm still very young. I'm still an undergrad student. I've not yet graduated. When you're saying, I realized that my age is so small, though you have said it doesn't matter really. But my question is, having an age of under 25 and at the same time still an undergrad student, how best can I do it? Because I'm now worried because since they have said 25 and above, I was now thinking maybe they said it for a reason, and at the same time, the other mind is saying just apply since your project can help the community. So how best can I do it? I'm still an undergrad student. I think I'll graduate in 2025, but currently I'm in the third year. I'm doing 5-year program.
Okay. I think because of time, I'll take that quickly. If you can be specific, how old are you?
I'm 24 now.
Okay. Cristiane also did mention that there's people, I think about age of 22 or something like that. And so you definitely can apply. That's number one. Number two, in terms of undergraduate or anything, it doesn't form part of any criteria. It's all about the solution that you're actually bringing, the strength of your application, and how you are able to communicate and motivate that application. So I don't see any problem in terms of your application being a problem based on age, based on or on academic level. I hope that answers. Okay, well, let's go to the second one. Juvita C. Ndani. Please go through.
Yeah, I'm Juvita Sudani from Malawi. My question is, I participated in Yali, probably this year. So, am I eligible to apply for Mandela Washington?
Yes, that's the short answer. Majority of us were in the RLC. In fact, maybe all of us here. So yeah, it doesn't stop you. So that's a yes.
Okay,
Tafa, you can put down your head, and also Jason, then you can put down your hand.
And so even in the application,
yep.
In the application letter, they do ask, have you participated in the Yali? So don't say no, because we feel like when you say no, they'll discard. Just say yes.
Yeah.
All right.
Once again, the key thing is being honest,
yes.
as honest as you can.
Yeah.
Hello?
And hi, Juvita. Hi, Juvita.
Yes.
We went to RLC together.
Yes.
Look, I think it also works in your favor if you have also engaged in the Regional Leadership Center. So
yes.
do highlight that. Do expand on it in some of your responses as well. Some of the lessons that you learned from the Regional Leadership Center and how those lessons would be able to help you successfully finish the Mandela Washington Fellowship.
Awesome.
All right.
Yes, in other hand, Jovita, during the summit there in Mandela Washington Fellowship, they call for the people that participate in the Yali regional for meetings and for sharing their stories with others to share how it was participating in the regional and how it was participating in Mandela. So feel free, I really support you on that.
Awesome.
All right. Thank you.
Mzwake, please go through.
Good evening. So,
Evening.
I just wanted to, can you hear me?
Yes, yes.
Okay, so I just wanted to ask, about tracks because, maybe I would say that I have interest in 2 tracks: business leadership as well as civic engagement track. And currently, I'm running a non-profit organization, so I guess the work that I do would fall under the civic engagement track or something like that. Then I also have some background in business and entrepreneurship, and also, for instance, the cohort that I was part of was a business and entrepreneurship development track. So I'm very the goal is to apply under the civic engagement track, but I'm just not sure whether that would be the best way to, or the best track to write in my application, or maybe it will be, I would have to look at my background and see where I'm more likely to actually be selected. So yeah, I guess that is where my question is. What would you advise? Would you advise for me to just look at my background and see where I would likely be successful in my application, or should I just go for both and see which one they select before?
Who would like to take that question?
So what I would say, or what I would suggest for you, is look at the programs that you're doing. Look at where you have the most impact, right? For instance, as I did say, that my academic background, for instance, is in development economics and regional integration, right? Even my postgraduate studies and doctoral studies would be focused on development economics integration. But then my application also was more focused on where I would be making much more impact. And I chose the public management space because that is where I'm mostly impactful, that is where I'm mostly active. So to come back to your question, look, you might have a finance background, you might have a business background, you might be running your own business. But then the question then becomes, the key fundamental question is, where are you most likely to make the most impact, the most effective impact? And if you are able then to explain that properly, to say, despite running an NPO or despite having a business, this is where I make the most impact. This is where I am mostly likely to thrive as an African leader. And I think these are the key challenges that I'm trying to address in the African context through my NPO or through my business. So it's a question of how well do you know yourself and the impact that you're making. So there's no way none of us can tell you go for business track or go for the civic engagement, because they both offer different perspectives on what it is being a leader. They also offer different approaches to teaching leadership. They offer different perspectives. So I think you should also do some introspection, see where you are most likely to have a much more bigger and effective impact.
Sure. Thank you for that.
Yeah.
Let's
just
go
to add.
Yep.
Yes, one of the things that you can do as well, if you go to the application description on Mandela Washington Fellowship site, you have the description of each track. So make sure that you can read it, and you will identify yourself as well with which track means or what they do.
Thank you. Let me go to Simangaliso. Please ask your question.
Hello.
Hello.
Oh, hi. I'm Sibusiso Mzulwini, Africa. I wanted to ask: is it possible? Would I be able to actually take part in the MWF if I haven't been in any organization, or haven't been part of Yali or anything of that sort? And my second question is, would I also be considered, even though I only have a diploma, a national diploma from the University of Johannesburg? That was my two questions.
Please forgive me, I didn't get the first question, but the short answer to the second question is your educational level will not impact your application because it's not part of the criteria.
Oh, okay. So the first question was, am I going to be considered even though I haven't been part of any, because I heard that it might be advantageous if you've been part of the regional leadership programs and such things. So if you haven't been part of anything of that sort, and this is your first, actually, this is my first time actually finding out about such things, and I've always been wanting to be a part of them.
I think because of time, I'll tackle that just quickly. No, it will not actually impact you. I'm taking this based on what the speakers have actually said and alluded earlier, especially when they mentioned that there was someone who came up with an idea that was able to actually make it through. So that gives me an impression that definitely your application will be considered. You'll be strengthened on the application that you send it through. That would then be reviewed and see if it actually passed. But no, it would not impede you, but it would actually assist you should you have attended. Therefore, should your application not be a success, then when the original one actually opens up, usually it's just after this one. When the applications open up, you apply for that one, and then we'll also assist you further for the next application. Cool. Let me go to Miss Pink. Just went away. So Gike Valley, please. Oh, Miss Pink, please go through because you got disconnected. Please ask your question.
All right. Good evening, everyone. Am I audible? Hello?
Yes.
Okay. My name is Alke. I'm from Namibia. I just wanted to find out. I applied for Mandela, Washington last year, but I was on the alternate list. So I want to find out if I'm applying this year, can I use the same essay that I wrote, or will that take as plagiarism?
Just to check if I heard you correctly, you want to use the application that you used last year onto this one?
Yes, like can I still use the same essays?
I don't advise you to do that. I really advise you to make another one and to review what the things that you put on your last application, because if you were in the wait list, it wasn't a good sign up. So you have to make sure that the new one will be better than the last one. And the other thing, it's just space 1 year. I think that you made a lot of things during 1 year, and you can even add some other experience that are more impactful than the last one that you made. So make sure that you will put something that will help you in terms of sharing what you are doing in a positive way. So we don't need to exaggerate, but we really need to transfer the things that we are doing and what you do, the most recent one, for example, that can help you to make sure that you pace this time, not doing the same thing.
Wait,
Yeah, definitely.
I didn't understand my question.
Okay, maybe I can come in. So you were selected as an alternate. So
Yes.
what Christian is trying to tell you is don't get an application that you wrote last year and just get everything that was in the previous application and then put them into a new application. Don't try to do that. But you can use the same concept, the same idea that you applied, that you used to apply last year. Then write your own English, but using the same concept, the same idea, but don't just get the last application. And I'm sure within 1 year, there are some certain things that you have improved, that has improved in whatever project that you used to apply. Those are the things that you can add. But don't just get an old application and then put it into the 2024 one. That would be considered as plagiarism.
All right.
So don't do that.
Thank
But
you
you can use
very
the same
much.
idea. Yes.
All right.
Yes,
Thank you.
welcome. Yeah,
Thank you. Ngi Kevali. I hope I'm pronouncing it correctly. Sorry about earlier. Just please, please go through.
Good evening. My name is Nkefali. I'm from Namibia. My question is about the reference check. When I heard in your presentations that people also verify your social medias, and there are some people who are not really much on social medias. Okay, I might have done some certain things, but they are not publicly available. So how will that affect my application?
That is a difficult one in the sense that how do you prove the impact that you are making? We all know how social media has been effective now, but then if you're saying everything that you're doing is not publicly available, then how do you then expect the program to verify what you're saying in your application, right? So a typical example, you might see that you're helping people in your village create their own food gardens. How do we verify that that is exactly what we're doing in your community and there's an impact there that you? So you would need then to find a way of showing and of explaining to them that despite the non-availability of whatever it is that you're doing, there is a way to verify what you're doing. Because at the end of the day, the application process has always been about how do you make sure that you are able to convey your impact that you're doing to society in such a way that it appeals to the selectors, or it appeals to the aims and objectives of the Young African Leaders initiatives. I don't know, it's quite a difficult, and I don't know what Lazarous and Cristiane think.
Maybe maybe I can come in. So guys, we're living in the digital age. Don't be shown away. I know in Africa we have this syndrome of village people. You don't want to share your impact. We are living in a technological world. Of course, you can't share everything on social media, but try to create a profile. And LinkedIn as the best platform. There are other platforms, but you need to try all your level best to create a professional LinkedIn account where at least the small achievements that you are making, try to upload them. That it will be able to speak for you even when you come across with an opportunity. So don't be shown away from showing your achievements, the lead that you are making, because those are the things that will speak for you when you need them the most. It will be very difficult for them to note your impact if it is not profiled anywhere. It will be very difficult. And so, okay, so in a case where you don't have, let's say you are running a project, maybe you might go with the pictures. Of course, then I'll I know here we are talking about the application process, but let's say you make to the interview stage and then you're going to be interviewed. Make sure you carry everything that will support you during that interview. I remember me when I was going for the interview, I got my products that we produce, I carried with them. I also got, I'm sure by then I had yet participated into the Yali, but the other certificates that I have relating to what I'm doing, I also carried along with them. And that really helped me when I went to the interview, because I was able to present my certificates, my awards. Those will also help you when you make the interview stage. Don't shun away in bringing, it may be, we make braziers, but I had to carry my brazier to go with you to the embassy. And that spoke to me, because when I was talking about my innovation, I was able to explain to them to say, okay, this is how my innovation works. And they saw it. So try to go, because it gets very hard, even when you make to the interview stage. They may select you, but for them now to pick you to be a finalist, it even becomes very harder. So make sure you go with something that will speak for you, so that you don't just go with words. Because everyone can talk, but you have to go with something that will speak with you. So if you don't have any social media, like where your work is being profiled, go with the physical objects that they'll be able to see, to say, this is what you're doing. That will help you. But please don't shun away in publishing your work. It will speak for you in the long run. Yeah, that's my advice.
Yes, at this point that Lazarus said as well, I stayed more than 1 year without posting anything, and I was in this type of situation as well. One of the things that I made, I searched for newsletter links or newsletter news that was related to it with my work, that was sharing my accomplishments, to help me to show them that I'm really doing that. And I had these links with me. I keep these links with me. Even if you go to a journal to give an interview, you may keep that, and it can help you on improving what you did. So I really agree with Lazarus on that point.
Thank you so much. Let's go to Sangweni. Please go through with your question.
Greetings everyone. Sangweni. I recently participated in the Yali Regional Leadership Program in the business track. And after coming back home, I actually had to participate in another business incubation program right here back home. So I wanted to know if my participation in these two programs will either be to my advantageous or make sense of being picked, assuming I'm planning to apply for the same business track.
Okay, I'll take that quickly because it covers what has been covered earlier. I think a similar question was asked. It only strengthens your application essentially. So you can apply, but it also strengthens because you have a greater story to tell, if I can put it that way. So it doesn't stop you from applying. So yeah. Let me move on to Mduduzi. Please go through.
Hi, sorry, I think I came in late, so you might have answered this question. How long does it take to complete the application in total? I'm saying this because I'm writing something else, like a long paper, and I just want to know if I'll be able to make the time for the actual submission date. And the second I wanted to ask was yeah, no, it's fine. I think that's probably the most important thing actually I want to ask. Thanks.
Okay, I'll answer that quickly. The time is based on how quickly you can finish. Preferably take your time, but it can be a day. I think it says 90 minutes or something, or less than that, but it's how quickly you can finish. There's no time limit. Preferably you can take your time so that you can you know, strengthen your application, have a fresh mind in the next day and stuff like that. Okay.
So I mean, the essays, you can complete them in a day.
Yeah. Even maybe in an
Okay.
hour. If you're feeling comfortable with what you actually wrote, you can just go through.
It all depends with how good you are. You can finish the whole application. You can finish everything. So it just depends with how good you are in terms of writing. Within an hour, you can finish the whole application process. But the reason why we encourage on starting early, at least you'll be able to. It will give you time to go through the application process. It will give you time for you to go through the application when you're done and be able to note the mistakes that you are making and edit it. And then the other thing, when you start early, you have enough time. You can write part of it yourself, just like that. And because sometimes when you just do everything in one time, it tends to be sometimes you don't do a good job. And this is a very competitive fellowship. So, but it all depends with you.
Oh, okay, cool. No, thanks.
Okay, let me go to Gina. Please go through. Gina Mariana. Okay, let's move to Rolinda. Oh.
I think Gina put her question on the chat.
Oh,
yeah, my question is can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, I'm Gina. I'm from Mozambique. But the thing is, like, in my country, we don't have English as my first question. And my English is not that good. So I would like to know if it can affect, like, negatively in a way my application, or because of that, I can get, like, I may have, like, lower chances of getting in. This is my first question. And the second question, I would like to know about, for example, me, I work on leadership community services, and I would like to know if this is with the kind of work I do, I may get, like, chances also to get in, or I have to be in, like, like in business things, like, for example.
I can get your first one. I think Sibusiso can testify that. Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Sibusiso is just smiling because he can testify that. I am from Angola, and my English is not my first language as well. And when I arrived in the cohort, I was like, worse than you. You can do it. You are just asking your question very clearly. And I suffered a lot. But one of the things that I advise you is, yeah, you have to be committed with yourself, and don't be shy. Don't blame yourself if you get something wrong, and just make it happen. Make sure that you are doing your question. You are giving the chance to yourself to take out your doubts and express yourself in any way, and commit yourself to improve your English every day, because you are going to improve your English only if you are practicing that. If you are not speaking, you can improve that. So make sure that you improve your English speaking. Don't be shy. And Sibusiso will agree with me. He was with me almost 2 months, so I'll give you the stage now.
Yeah, I think Gina, the English thing is not a thing. I can promise you, being able to speak English is not a thing in the Mandela Washington Fellowship. They even have actually a English teaching component to it before you go to the fellowship. Also, I mean, Cristiane, I used to be an interpreter sometimes. So with that being said, don't worry about your English. Just write a good application and you'll be fine. Also coming to your second question, I think I did explain, Simu, that I also come from a much more professional background. So it depends on which track you choose. So I think if you're in public service, then I think obviously the public management track would be much better for you, because unlike other tracks, the public management track also looks at where are you in the public service, what are you doing in the public service, and what, because at the end of the day, and I'll keep on repeating this, it has to do with the kind of impact that we're making in whatever space that you are at, you understand? So if you're a public servant, then great, go for the public management track and you have the time of your life.
Just something to add to Gina is that just make sure that you prepare yourself very well for the U.S. Embassy interview, because this day will be definitely the one that you have to show your better English, because it's the day that you'll be chosen or not. So make sure that you train how to express your projects. You can train your English with other person, showing and trying to explain them your project, what your accomplishments, what you are going to do in the future, what the impact that you are doing in your community. This type of questions, try to explain it for someone that speaks English to help you to improve that, to make sure that you have a good one on your U.S. Embassy interview, because this day is very important.
Awesome. Let's go to Rolina. Is it Rolina? Sorry. Rolinda, sorry.
Yes. Good evening. I'm sorry. Good evening. Yeah. I'd like to ask, I have a business. So I want to know if, and I have I have an idea which is of a project that I'm working on. So I'd like to know under which section can I apply to if I want to focus more on the project rather than the business. Because I do NGO work and I want to be more explanatory when it comes to the project.
If I understand you correctly, I think it alludes to two things that Sibusiso had mentioned earlier. One, you are highlighting, I think he even went to in terms of his career and in terms of the application that he selected to do, is to look at the impact that you want to make, where there's more impact that you want to make, which in this case, on your example, is a project. Then on that project, you look at where does it fit onto the different tracks that are available. So then that's what will help you to actually select. It could be, as an example, it could be fitting within the entrepreneurship space because you also have that experience in the entrepreneurship space. I'm just making an example. So you just look at the project. If that's the area you want to go through and that's the area you feel has more impact, then look at which track does it actually fit in, where you can be able to actually extract benefits when you're actually going to the Nelson Mandela Fellowship.
Okay. So is it safe or is it okay to mention the club that I'm in, that I'm doing charity work with, if I'm giving an example or explaining what I'm doing?
Yes.
For the campaign?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So basically, you see, this is the approach that I used in all my responses, right? They might ask, what kind of volunteer work are you into? So I'd say it's three things. What is it? What does it do? And what kind of impact does it have? So you might be running a charity club with whoever you're running with. But then just telling them about the charity club is not enough. Be able to explain to them what kind of impact is that club having in whoever its intended beneficiaries are. So as Sibu was explaining, I don't know, Sibu, you would be Sibu 2 and then I'll be Sibu 1. As Sibu 2 was explaining, that at the end of the day, it's all about how you frame it, how you frame what you're doing. And also it's about what really interests you. Do you want to learn more about the business culture and the business state in the United States, or you want to get a more perspective on civic engagement in the United States, or you want to get more understanding of the public management aspect of it. So, yeah, it's very important to look at the impact you're making. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you.
Oni Nzashe. I hope I pronounced it well. Please go through.
Yes, thank you very much. And I'd like to acknowledge and appreciate you panelists for hosting this session and taking us through and taking time out of your busy day to answer our questions and guide us through this process. So my name is Ngoni Zashe and I'm from Angola. And I just wanted to ask, if you check on the Yali website, the statistics show that overwhelmingly most people apply for the business track, not as much as the other tracks. So my question is that if your project or your idea straddles the line between business and something else, would it not be better statistically wise and strategically wise for you to go for something that is not business, since most people are applying for business and the competition will be high in that business? So thank you. That's it.
Sounds like it's a choice you have to make, eh? Based on your analysis.
Yeah, but it's a good
And
point.
strategically,
Yeah,
I
it's a
think you
game of
already have an
probabilities.
answer.
It's a game of
Yeah.
probabilities. At the end of the day, you have over. Yeah.
I wouldn't really let not those numbers intimidate you. Just
Yeah,
give
true.
yourself the trust, because yeah, numbers don't need to intimidate you, and it all depends with what you want to do. Because let's say you have a business and you want to develop your entrepreneurship skills, and that's what you want. So maybe for public or civic engagement, because you are telling your story. So how are you going to tell, let's say you select a civic engagement and then you're doing a business? I don't even know where I'm going to begin from if it was me in answering those questions, because we are using the idea that you have in answering those questions. So, and that also pertains to
I think we lost him.
Yeah. But I think you got the answer.
Yes, and there is another problem as well. As I said at the beginning, sometimes if you do an application that they saw that all of your experience are related to something else, they will put you on the track that is more related to your profile. So, as Lazarus was saying, even if you try to relate, if you are not on that track, when you are going to storytelling, you storytell your own story, you'll be relating always to business. So yes, don't be scared. I think just do your best. And they told us about the importance of storytelling. Storytelling is very impactful in terms of doing essays. So make sure that your storytelling is very emotional and very impactful in terms of numbers and in terms of how the community saw or how the community was impacted of your project. So I think this is the point.
Awesome. Let's go to Martha. Please go through. I think I'm going to now restrict it to the last 3 people because of time. So please go through, Martha.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, I just wanted to, hi, good evening. I'm from Namibia. I just wanted to inquire. I was a COVID-19 volunteer. I just wanted to inquire if that will better my chances by applying. Should I include that?
Short answer is yes. Do include it. It's all about the story you're telling. Make it personal, related to your work, and definitely that will be considered.
Yes, Martha, because on my essay, one of the things that I emphasize is that I work on the front line of COVID. At the beginning of COVID, I worked as trainer for health professionals to protect themselves, how to protect themselves during the COVID pandemic at the beginning. So everyone was scared, and I was one of the trainers for the other health professionals. And I really think that this experience helped me on the essay.
Awesome. Kay Ntobo, please go through. Batleho.
Hello.
Hi.
This is Ndobo. I'm from Lesotho. My question comes from curiosity. How many of you guys completed their essays without the help of the W Mandela Washington Fellowship graduates or alumni? Those who completed it on their own without I don't all right.
Well, you got your answer.
Well, it should tell you. I think there's no real help that you'd get from anyone in the, whether it's in the embassy or the Yali administration. Look, we've been saying this, right? Katlego, that it's about telling your story your way in your own words. I can advise you to the moon and back, but if you are unable to tell your story in your own words, then no one is going to understand it in your own words and in your own experiences. It's all about explaining your lived experiences and how through those lived experiences you continue to make an impact in your society. So don't worry about being helped by someone from the Mandela Washington Fellowship or stuff like that. Tell your story, get someone to reread it for you so that it makes much more sense to the next person. Because I know this as a researcher, and when you're writing your own words and you are reading them on your own, to you they might make sense. But then once someone gets a different perspective, you are able then to get some insights on things that didn't make sense for them. To you saying that I'm making an impact in the HIV and AIDS awareness campaign, I raise awareness. When I read that, it reads as if it's everything the next person in the health sector does. But then I'm able to give you some insight on how to at least package it.
I would echo what Sibusiso has said. It is your own story. You are telling your own story. And if someone is going to come and someone can advise here and there, but the real person who's going to come up with an original story is you. So, and when you know your story, it becomes very easy to tell it. And you're not even going to struggle, because I could remember the last application that I did, because I applied for this fellowship twice. The last time I made it the interview stage, I couldn't be picked. And then this one, I remember very well those essay questions. I was like, I had another fellowship that I was doing. I completed those essay questions, all of them, when I was at the airport, when I was coming from Nigeria, going to Zambia. I had a very long layover in Nairobi. So I had to sit down. I was feeling lazy. I was like, I'm not going to apply. Maybe I'll just apply, which is this one. But when I was at the airport and then I was just seated, I was like, okay, let me just finish this application then. And I wrote all those essay questions within the space of just less than an hour, because it is my story. It relates to me. And I submitted. So the only person who's going to write an original story is you yourself. And when it comes from you yourself, it will also help you when you make the interview stage, because you are going to relate to everything that we are writing, because they were coming from you.
Awesome. To the last person, Togo, window, please go through.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi, my name is Togzan Window and I'm from Malawi. My question is, once one is considered for the interviews, are the interviews conducted in person or online? And also, how many people are on the panel? And what are some of the questions that one should expect from the panel?
Okay, you are saying when you are considered for the interviews, so it all differs with the embassies, but now this time around I presume everyone will be doing in person, but they can still be conducted online. Because I remember the 2022 one, we had interviews that were conducted online, and that partly affected me because I was having a glitch in terms of network. I was not connecting properly. But the previous one, we did it in person, but other countries are still conducting online. So if they are conducted online, make sure that you go to a location where you've got good network. I know in Africa, network is a problem. So network can also affect you. So make sure that when you are selected for the interviews, you have to make sure that you go to a very good location where you're not going to have any problem in terms of internet and things like that. When you go for in-person, that will be great because there you're going to have an interaction with those who will be asking you. And then the questions that they are going to ask you. So it is always advisable when you are done with your application process, you submit that application, download the application, download it and save it. When you receive an email that you've made it to the interview stage, make sure you go through the application process because they will be asking you questions that you were writing in the application letter. They're not going to ask you any other questions coming from somewhere, but they will be asking questions from the application. They want to see, they want to relate what you were writing. Is that what you can tell them too? So make sure that when you submit the application letter, download it, save it. When you make it the interview stage, start perusing it through so that when you go to the interviews, you are well polished up.
And other is, I'm sorry. And other thing is, don't be scared because sometimes in person interview they have more than sometimes 4 than in 5 people interviewing you. So when you go to the room for the interview, you find like 4 people waiting for you, and all of them will be asking questions for you. So just be confident and calm. And as Lazarous said, make sure that what you are saying is related to what you wrote. And don't be scared about them. They are there to scare us, but don't be scared. They really are there to scare us. They don't laugh. They don't give you any hope, but don't be scared. Just do your best and be confident.
Okay. So are the people on the panel also from the country that you applied from, or they are from the USA?
It solely depends, honestly. You might find there's some from South Africa, there's some from around Africa. The most probably be one person from the US embassy. So look, I think for me, Togo, right? I would say don't stress yourself about who's there, where they from. I think all interviews are the same, but then it's all about how you express yourself, how you genuinely express yourself on the things that you're doing, the things you're passionate about. Because you might find that you're being interviewed by 2 people and they give you the hardest, toughest interview. And you might find that you're being, just like me, I was interviewed by 4 people and it didn't feel like an interview. We were just having a conversation about what I've been doing, what I am about, and all of that. So how many are they and where they're from? That narrative should be formed by you. So it doesn't matter if it's one person or 5 people. You need to drive the narrative and you need to drive the story. Get to react with one. Get to interact with one or all of them. That's the best advice I can give you for the interview. there's no template there. There's no set questions that you should expect.
Okay.
I think with that, because of time, we have to end there. What I'm also going to do, like I mentioned earlier, once I've actually double checked in terms of how is it loaded online and stuff like that, I'll share it onto our groups for everybody to actually get the link of that, whether it's LinkedIn, YouTube, and so forth. They can listen to this discussion and this conversation. In terms of, let's say there's questions that you may post or anything like that, I would like to restrict that on LinkedIn. So the panelists that are actually here, people that have actually went into the fellowship, they will be able to actually respond onto LinkedIn. That's where I'll restrict to. But otherwise on my side, once again, thank you so much. If you guys have anything to say, last words, please go through.
Yeah, I think for me, the last word for me would be to say and encourage everyone basically to firstly take your time in writing your essay. Don't be me and Lazarous. I did my application 2 hours before the closing time. Please don't be me. That is stressful. Also prepare for your interview. Relook at everything you've done. Write notes down about key points in your career. Write key points on some of the impactful work that you're doing. And lastly, in that preparation, be sure about yourself. They can only say yes or no. So, and if they say no, they are not saying no to you. They are saying no to what you presented to them. So you don't stop trying another. Not all of us would be me. You apply the first time, you accepted the first time, right? And some would. So it's a basic learning process. And also, lastly, I just want to wish all of you good luck. This is a wonderful experience that could most probably change your life forever. So take time in savoring that, take time in making sure that you prepare as adequately as possible. And obviously, thank you guys for your time. I really appreciated the conversation.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I'm definitely not going to allow the lady to be at the end, so Lazarous, you're going to end. Christine, please go through.
Yes,
Okay.
I'd like to thank you. Lazarus, you may go. You may go.
No, Lazarus is going to end. I would not allow a lady to actually be the one that goes at the end. He's going to be a gentleman boss.
Okay. I'd like to thank you for the invitation first, and to be with you guys. And I just want to support you, to motivate you, just to be yourself. Trust in yourself. Don't think that maybe someone is better. Just think that everything that you are doing your best. So someone will see that, and someone will just count on you. So be as most of truthful people that you can do, and make sure that all your achievements and the best one are related to what you are saying and what you are doing, and just make your heart
put your heart there, put your emotion in your application, because sometimes we want to show up with a lot of things that we are doing, and we forgot to put ourselves on that. Put yourself on that. Write it as you are doing something like for that can be taken forever. Because even if you don't pass, even if you don't go there, every time you can read your application, you will feel yourself on that. So this is one of the things that I made. Every time that I read my application, I can feel it, I can agree what I wrote there, because I was very, very true by myself and what I did. And this is one of the things that I take off. And thank you once again. It was a big pleasure to meet you all. It was a big pleasure to meet Sibusiso again. And Lazarous, it was a pleasure to meet you. Bye, everyone. Good luck. And let Africa be proud of you.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you for coming through. Thank you. Lazarous, your turn, my brother.
Well, thank you so much. I appreciate it a lot. I was just here. I'm still in DC, and we want to see you guys here. Want you to come next year. Yeah, it will be very great. And we are going to try our level best to support you. Try to reach out. Don't feel shy. Let's support one another, because the core is to develop Africa and change everything. And this is a fellowship that has so much potential. It will expose. You are not just going to network with the American people, but you are going to have friends all across the African continent. And that's some kind, it helps a lot, because you are going to start sharing opportunities with your friends. So just try your level best. Start that application later. Don't be intimidated. When you feel like, because sometimes you can feel so low, and then you'll be like, no, I can't do this. Just try your level best, and this will be amazing, and we'll be there to support you. And when you make to the interview stage, please, you can also reach out to us. I've shared my email address, and also you can reach out to me on LinkedIn, and we'll be able to be sharing ideas on how to make sure that this is a success. All of you might not make it, but at least from this group, at least we need at least a good number of people who are going to come here next year, and so that we can be able to continue supporting each other. And when you put up that application, then you feel like you're not being selected. Sometimes you might not even make to the interview stage. Don't feel demoralized. My roommate, when we were at UNR, he told me he applied 7 times. On the 7th time, he got accepted. So don't give up, guys. When you feel like they reject it, just keep on sending that application, and they'll definitely accept you. Let's keep moving. Thank you so much for the opportunity, guys.
Awesome.
Bye, everyone.
Bye. Thank you for coming through.
Bye.
Yes.
Thank you for
Bye.
this educative session.
Awesome. Thank you.
You're welcome. Good luck. See you then.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.